Hello and welcome to the stream. Just forgot to do it as I always do, to switch it over so that you can actually see the game. Is it gonna jump in? Wait. My cat's been on my desk. Let's have a look. Why is the game capture not popping up? Maybe it's because I selected the different one. The wrong one, sorry, should I say. There we go, there she is, beautiful. So here we are, at home in the VO dock, in the in Memphis Belle. Just gonna quickly visit the services because I don't think I fueled up last night. Why does this sound a bit off? Okay, that's a bit better now. So we need to do a bit of refuel, repair, and restock. Just going to advanced maintenance as well to make sure my repair my ship integrity. That's something not everybody's told about. Paintwork. Let's have a look. I don't know. I'm not going to spend a huge time in the station. I'm going to just explain what I'm going to do. So here's the Memphis Belle. Yeah, we'll give her a new paint job, but we'll give her a paint job specifically for this one. So we'll go with a vibrant yellow, I think, for this one. I think it looks better on her anyway. Okay, so yeah, that makes it look much better. So, where are we going today? Well, we're going to the Lagoon Nebula. Where is the Lagoon Nebula, I hear you say? Well, it's pretty far off. Pretty far off ski. Okay, so it is. Here is the bubble, and here it is. Just up here. So it's going to be a bit of a trip, this one, but it should be really good to make some money. Gonna see if we can keep that fuel up as much as possible as we go. So that'll be interesting. Trying to keep the fuel levels up and not having to have any big stops for a refill. So, without further ado, we might as well get going because time is money and whatnot. So, let's just check everything's running properly. Okay, let's launch. So I'm actually really looking forward to this. I did a video last night visiting the Jupiter's Ghost, which was a little underwhelming when I got there, to be honest. But I hadn't done a trip out of the bubble for a while to have a look at somewhere, so this is going to be really good fun. I'm really going to enjoy this. So we need our landing gear up. We can pretty much pump up the didn't mean to. I forgot that when you're not in Super Cruise, that automatically opens your hard points. So, because this is going to be such a crazy trip, I'm trying to set everything up so I feel comfortable and I don't feel that I'm sitting out of position or anything. This way or this way? Oh, that's a big difference in sound, isn't it? Okay, let's do it like this. Right, off we go. First jump.
Way ahead is clear. FSB out.
Just feeling a bit of wave. If you wonder why I have a funny looking face, well, that's normal, but I've got something of a... Hey, how are you doing? Didn't see your message there because I've only just turned the chat on my phone. So really, I'm not going to be slowing down at the suns or anything. I'm going to be really pushing the fuel scoop. Now, I don't want to get too cocky like I did yesterday, so I need to remember to try and fuel scoop upside down. I'm off to the Lagoon Nebula, which is one hell of a trip. So I'm really looking forward to this. There's been some nebulas I've been to before. I've heard that this one's a really good one. So when you look at it on the map, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So it should be really cool to have a look at. And there's some black holes and stuff around there, so we can maybe have a play around at that. There's actually a station, so you know you can if there's any problems with the ship, or I've had any near misses, sorry, with the suns, you can kind of get here's my phone. Oh yeah, the phone's good for one thing, no? I'm alright. I've had a bit of a soft day today. I made a long video earlier about web pages. All those ones I was talking about yesterday, basically. So I thought, oh, I'll make a video and stick them all into one video. But it's about an hour long. But it's worth it. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. There's some really good web pages in there. So I'd have a look at it if you get a chance. If you want to go in the down the exploration route. It's good to hear you found a couple of places. Did you find them? Were you the first person to find them? Did it list you as the first person to find them? I've got a couple of planets with my name on out there. So as you can see, I'm sticking as close to the sun for as long as possible because I don't really want to have any stops. And if you go over 36 light years, it's generally going to eat a lot of fuel. But what I'm looking for is those ones where, for some reason, I have 32. Sometimes even as little as 6. Ah, really? Oh, well done to you. Give that man a round of applause. So there's plenty of information in there, and I'm sure some of it's really good. Oh, hang on. I had a slight freeze on my computer there. I was a bit worried that it was going to crash. I better just double check the feed. I don't want to be talking to myself for the next 40 minutes. So already I've had a few really good scans. That's what, nearly 30 things there. So let me just check to make sure everything's running alright. I don't like any big pauses. Okay, all my kilobytes and everything are pretty high, so everything looks like it's doing alright. That's cool. It's one of the things. When I first went out, I mean, people had been seriously scanning. I was miles away from the bubble, and I was finding rocky ice planets that are worthless that had been scanned. And I remember the first ever planet I scanned with my own name on it was actually an Earth-type world. That made me feel really proud. All the hours I'd put into it. So good on you. Good on that man. So we've got, yeah, so everything's like a 36 jump. So I have a feeling that maybe every 20 planets or something, I'm probably going to have a quick refuel. Still got this horrible cough. Don't know when it's going to go away. I also tried another game earlier, doing a let's play. I tried a railway simulator one. It wasn't as good as I thought it'd be, but it was okay. It was fun for what it was. I wouldn't be paying. I wouldn't maybe necessarily have paid for it if I realised how bad it was, but it's okay. If they bring the price down, I'd definitely buy it. So what was that one? Was that 36 or something? I was going to keep track of how many light years I've flown, but I seem to have lost my book. But I can do it on here, I suppose. So let's open up a... 4, 3, I reckon I've done 140 light years so far. So if I include this jump. Yeah, it's well, there is. I didn't. Funnily enough, I didn't list it in the other websites because it was a really specific thing that I came across. But there is a website somewhere or a Reddit post that actually does tell you the best suns that you should be looking for to find Earth-type worlds. But to be honest with you, around the bubble, it's going to be really hard. But once you've got a bit of money and you've outfitted a real exploration thing, you can get out there and you'll find one. But I don't know if we're going to find many near the bubble at the moment, because what we 3.5 years into this game been out, and as far as I'm aware, at the very beginning, people were just out there scanning non-stop. Because the Earth-type worlds, they only appear with certain stars. I think it's M-class stars. Like this one. They have to be in the Goldilocks zone as well. So if they're a little bit too far, a little bit too near, they're not Earth types. But I mean, you can even give yourself a pat on the back if you find a water world that's terraformable. That's pretty good. Or ammonia rich world as well. Those are good ones as well. So I'm using your tip actually of flying upside down at the moment, and it is kind of, I've got used to it now, and actually I think it lets me scoop that little bit extra. I don't know why, I like the curvature of the sun, and I seem like I prefer pulling up on the joystick than I do pushing down when I'm doing it kind of bottom down. So I think I'm getting maybe, I don't know, about 2 or 3 seconds extra worth of scoop. Oh really? It might be G-Star, you know. I just remember on this post it kind of, you might do well do googling it for yourself actually. I will have a look for it and I'll link it for you if I find it again. Well, I've got it actually saved somewhere in my bookmarks. But if you search something like what are the best type suns to produce Earth worlds, it'll tell you. So we're already in the black by the looks of it, in Anarchy systems. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get here. I don't know if I'm going to come back to the bubble, because I don't want to go too far from the bubble. Just in case I want to come back and do a few bits and bobs, but I'm really getting the Explorer itch these last few days. I think it's just after doing all those passenger missions and rank up missions and everything, I really want to get out there and explore a little bit again. But as I was doing some wing missions yesterday, I felt like I should really try and do a few bits of combat as well. I know I say I'm a pacifist, but I suppose if I'm chasing down bad guys, it's not so bad. Frameshift drive charging. So what have we just done? Another 3 there for 30, 60, 90, 95. Okay. Yeah, so really, I mean, it's pulling the most it can out of each jump here, and nearly every jump is 36 point something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well your ship's kitted out for exploration. I mean, if you really want to go to the California Nebula, do it. Seriously, do it. But make sure you do, like, I'd go get that FSD engineered as well, just so you can get maybe 3 or 4 light years out of it. If you get another 6 light years out of it, you took every extra like 4 jumps, you're getting a free 20 light years out of it. It's well worth doing it. I mean, if you can get out there, what I would say as well is if you can go somewhere without any problems, like the route planner just works, great. Barnard's Loop is a pain in the ass to get to. It's actually easier to get there, and then you can kind of get stuck coming back.
4, 3, 2, 1.
They should have something in this game where you can really save routes, to be honest. But obviously, for scanning reasons and whatnot, they don't do it. So we're hitting like 9s and 10s here, so we've had a couple of 30s. I don't know if you watched the video yesterday when I was jumping and honking. I managed to find a system with I think 100 and 101.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh, the Type 6, yeah, that was a while ago. I had one of them. I think I used to use mine for delivery missions. 37...
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Well, I'm going to actually try and keep an eye on how long I've travelled here. There's maybe a way in game of checking it, but I don't know, so... I suppose actually Inara probably will. Inara probably will, sorry.
Fuel scooping.
It'll probably help me check what I've done. There is a website, and I'm sure I'm a member of it, that actually tracks every jump you make and every star you visit, so I should maybe look at that one. Is mining viable actually in a Type 6, or is it a bit cumbersome?
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. Fuel scooping.
So yesterday I got a bit greedy on one of my fuel scoops and nearly hit the sun, so I'm kind of being really, really careful about that today.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive
37
charging.
minutes. Tell you what, this is going to be a right pain in the ass to tot up at the end of the day. Well, we're
3, 2,
10.
engage.
We're getting through this. I'm getting there a bit faster than I thought I would actually. Wow. Oh, binary star. But without the orbit lines.
Fuel scooping.
And going now over at about 100 miles an hour. I've lost that scoop, so it's gonna make me slow down.
Frameshift drive charging.
Ah, yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, I mean, if you're just taking your time, you're probably better off having more cargo space. You're probably doing right there. Wow, this is a big one.
Fuel scooping.
I I keep crapping myself when I fly through these jets. Because I thought they'd drop you out of hyperspace, but they are only graphical. However, you can get really hot. I'm at 79 at the moment. So. So you see, I'm doing quite well on the fuel. It's still at the halfway point. We haven't eaten too much into it. We've done a shed load of jumps so far. Wait.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
So I think when I work this out, I'm going to work it out on an average. If I work it out on an average of 37, I think. It'll give me more or less the...
Fuel scooping.
See, I know I piss and moan about orbital lines sometimes, but I'm never ever gonna piss and moan about them again. I'm gonna keep them on. Pretend I'm a professional.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Do you know what? Actually, I might see if when I get to this place, I might see if there's people who need transporting back to the bubble. That could be interesting. That could be a money maker. So if you've just joined the streams, feel free to say hello in the chat. If you like the video, feel free to like and subscribe, or dislike and subscribe, whichever one, I don't mind, as long as you subscribe. I think that's fair. Also, I'm doing this little crabbing technique as well, which to get around the sun sometimes without actually affecting the way I'm scooping, so... Yes, I think if I give myself an average of 37.5. Give or take. That's conservative 37.5, some 37.8, 37.9. Actually, earlier when you were on about cargo stuff floating around, I was thinking of actually having a go at that as well, salvage stuff, because I've never taken notice of the salvage guy in the station.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh yeah, I'd actually... Whoa, I think I went a bit too quickly there. I'd actually have a look at it if I could, but I can't really. My modules... Yeah, so there you can see my modules there, pretty much. Oi. Bastard. Hang on. I'll do it on the next scoop. Okay, let's line ourselves up here.
Fuel scooping.
Okay, I'll pull back slightly. Just need to keep an eye on that temp. But yeah, there's my module. So 4D thrusters, 4A shield generator, a shield booster. Don't know why it says 0B, because it's not. Sensors 3A, frame shifters. I have engineered it 5A, fuel scoop 4A. That's really important. Power distributor, I think that's quite important. Stuck it. Oh, off we go. I've got a couple of heat sinks for emergencies, and then a 4A power plant.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Are we clear of that? Yep, okay.
Frameshift drive charging.
So I was going to get my calculator out there. So this is going to be about 5,500 light years in total. Have you got a name for your Diamondback, or do you not bother naming your ships?
Fuel scooping.
Well, that was a crappy system to jump into.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
I still think I should rename my ship to Scanny McScannison, but I've done so much with this one, it would pain me to rename it. So if I make another one, another exploration ship at some point, I'll definitely name that one. I just like the name Memphis Belle because she went out there, did a job, and when she came back she was a wreck. That's pretty much the story. You go out into the black. Alright, yeah. Yeah, well that's probably alright to have. It's just like if you go on a long range mission, I'd dump that cargo rack because I can't remember how many light years. 2 or 3 light years, and I do sometimes. I mean, I've done it for this one actually, which I probably shouldn't have. Probably should have stored it, but I do put a planetary vehicle and a scarab in there because if I'm out there looking at something and I fancy landing on a planet, then I suppose it's better to take it actually. Because, you know, if you get to the nebula and it's a fantastic view, it's going to look even better from the planet.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
The Pursuer, right? I'll keep an eye out for that one if ever that start getting pulled out of hyperdrive. Whoa, that was close. 6 objects, right, so not doing too well on a few of these, to be honest. But we're doing really well on fuel. I mean, we're nearly back up to being full without actually... I did have a stop, didn't I? No, that's me kidding myself. I had a stop when I was showing my systems. Another thing about exploration is, depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it, is kind of to just sit back and kind of not see this part as a chore. If you see this part as a chore, it's gonna be a nightmare. You know, this bit's just when you sit back, listen to your favourite music. I normally, if I'm not streaming, I'll just listen to a podcast while I'm doing it. Yeah, as well, and that's what I was just thinking, you know, if you just want to stop. There's a guy, I was watching a guy in a stream once, and I think he's got track IR. And he does something where he kind of checks out the planets. I'm not sure if he has an extra module, an extra API that can tell him if there's an Earth-type world or whatever, but he'll quite often than not suddenly divert off course and start scanning a planet, but he doesn't go into the systems map, so I'm assuming he's got some type of API. It could be commander's log or something. I always thought commander's log was an API that where you actually have to insert stuff manually, but there might be an automatic version. So he'd kind of sometimes go off and scan an Earth type world, which is probably makes your runs a bit more profitable. I mean, I've never actually, I've never really done any calculations evening out my runs and kind of how many places you come across and whatnot. But there's probably a way that you can work out. That was a self-thought that I suddenly started talking about. So, in my head, I was wondering how much I'm going to make for this trip. And yesterday, what was it? 42 jumps, 1.8 million, I think. Oh, no, it was more than 1.8. 1.8, 1.9 maybe. And then I was just thinking, oh well, how much I'm going to make off this one, and then I'm thinking, no, I'm going to have to break that down. I'm going to have to take a few different trips, write down the jumps, write down the total income, and then take an average on it. Like I'm doing on this one with the distance, I'm kind of saying, oh well, 37.5 average jump. Now I have seen quite a few that have been lower than 5, so I'll keep that in consideration and maybe just lower it a little bit towards the end. Alright, you're just you're a purist. Right, what have I got? 98 jumps. That's not bad, actually. I'm a third there. I'm actually a third way there already. I can't remember how long I've been streaming, but it hasn't been a huge amount of time, so... I can actually check that in a second. I've been streaming for 30 odd minutes. I was in the hangar for a while, so yeah. I reckon I'll be there in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And I reckon if I can get any passenger missions back to the bubble, I'd probably have to actually ship my Anaconda out there, but I could maybe do... Oh no, that would take... How many delivery hours would that be? No, that's not going to be worth it. I remember when I was flying towards Colonia, I tried to have my Anaconda flown out. This is real time, don't forget. It told me it would take a week for my Anaconda to get there, so I was like, oh, sod that. To be honest, the only engineer I think I've opened is the frameshift drive ones, because I really, like I say, I'm generally a pacifist, so I haven't done any of that stuff, so I don't get any of them opened. I do very little mining, generally only do mining maybe on planet surfaces when I need to get something for my frameshift drive. One thing I didn't take advantage of yesterday was when we were racing. If I'd have had a scanner, I could have scanned all of your wakes, and that would have been really helpful to me, but I didn't have a scanner on board, unfortunately. So I'll remember that time next time I'm in a wing. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was at the other end. I was almost at Colonia though. I think I was 2/3 of the way there. It had taken me probably a week, but that was back in the days when I played really slow. I scanned a ton of planets on the way. I might not have even been 2/3 there. I might have actually not even been halfway there, but I was a long way from the bubble. I think that was actually the trip when I reset my account, which I still to this day regret doing. I should have just flown back. But even on that trip, this is when I first got the game, so I wasn't interested even in fighting, trading. I was just interested in exploration. I think I went out there in a Type 6. I'm absolutely sure. I'll have to check it later when I get to the other station. But if I've got a paint job for a Type 6, that's what I was doing it in. So I'm exploring and honking in a Type 6. I don't know, Big Bertha would be proud. And you can imagine in a Type 6 the near misses you have with the sun coming in at full speed.
Fuel scooping.
That was a decent one. That was 37.
Frameshift drive charging.
So yeah, and I think my Type 6 only had like a 10, I think it was a 10 light year jump range or something.
3, 2,
But I didn't care back then. I genuinely didn't. I was scanning everything. Obviously now I avoid rocky ice worlds and stuff like that, and just go for the meat and the gravy. But back then I'd be scanning gas giants for $1,000 and travelling 300,000 light seconds to scan a £2,000 or $2,000 gas giant. That's why I'm so passionate about getting newcomers.
charging.
That's why I'm so passionate about getting newcomers kind of, shall we say, cheesed up with a bit of money so that they can just go out there and engineer or buy the best things so that they can really just go out there and enjoy themselves. And not that I didn't enjoy myself, but deleting my account just to come back to the bubble because I knew the work I'd have to put in. It's a little bit sad, all those hours that I put in. And the worst thing, nobody warned me. I was on Discord telling people that I was off to Colonia in this Type 6, and everybody's just going, "Ah, good luck, have fun." I bet you were. Come on, we need some better systems than this.
Charging.
Ah, the gods have answered, so that's 28. It's alright. Better than nothing.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
Okay, so I think I estimated before that every 20 jumps I might, every 25 jumps I might have to stop for fuel, but I think it's actually going to work out less.
4, 3,
I think it's going to work out about every
engage.
40.
Frameshift drive charging.
Ah, well, it's like, I don't know, you know, although I'm quite talkative, I'm kind of the same. I don't generally, although I'm a member of quite a few Discord channels, I kind of only use them when I'm asking questions, which might be a bit selfish, actually. I don't generally get involved with the everyday chit-chat that goes on. That's why one of the things I recommended in the websites today is actually a podcast. And sometimes I think, you know, for me the podcast is quite hard to watch because it listen to, sorry, because I think it gets it goes sideways and doesn't keep on topic. But I mean, those lads, they really enjoy doing it, and obviously it's a social thing for them as well as playing a game, so they kind of mix a lot of things into it. But I can understand where you're coming from. But I still think lurking is which is what I do basically. Lurking is a good thing to always be doing, because there's always people who know little secrets or find things out, or can help you out if you're in a push.
Charging.
Hey, what are we on now?
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
So I was kind of dreading this actually when I first took it. When I first decided to do this run, I was kind of dreading it because it seemed like a bit too far, but I don't know, it's working out alright. It's going pretty much at the speed I'm wanting to. I've not had any dropouts. I've not had to use my my heat sinks or anything. That was close. I might have needed to there because I was too busy talking about it.
Frameshift drive charging.
Reddit can be an absolute gold mine, but the thing is, you have to go through so much crap to find good stuff. I mean, even when they pin stuff to the sidebar, I've seen some not particularly on Elite, but on other games where some seriously good information has slipped through the channel because somebody hasn't titled it very well, or there was something going on in the game that everybody was pissing and moaning about, and it's just got lost in the melee of that.
Frameshift drive charging.
Now, if for any reason I suddenly jump up off the computer and run off, it's because my housemate's returning from England today, and they're bringing me some English food that I've wanted. And so, ginger biscuits, main thing. So if my housemate comes back early, I might have to take a 5-minute break while I grab those ginger biscuits and a cup of tea. Whoops. That's what you call on EDDB IO, or is it the light seconds that was long? light seconds now. This is really interesting actually. Just before I jumped there, I kind of noticed that you don't see it at the beginning here. You need to get just a tad bit further from the sun, but you can see that the reflection on the space, on the, I don't know what they call it, space dust or whatever, from the core of the system is now actually starting to make the sky brighter. So I'm not quite, obviously I'm not at the core yet, so it's not super bright, but this is way brighter than it would be anywhere in the bubble.
Frameshift drive charging.
Ah, well, use EDDBIO, see if you can get that refinery a bit closer.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Unless your system's got a really stupid name, and then good luck typing that in. They really need to have a copy and paste system within the game. The ability to paste into it's great, I love it, but they really need the ability to copy out of it as well.
Fuel scooping.
Oh, that was nice. 42 astronomical objects. So I'm starting to run a little bit low on fuel here, not super low, but and I'm overheating.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage. Fuel scooping.
Ah, okay. That's good. What do you think of the jump screen when you jump between systems? Would you prefer like a Star Wars type jump screen, or do you think this one's alright? I just don't like the fact that when you jump it looks like you're flying through loads of nebulas and things, but in reality you're not, because you might be on your way to a nebula. I don't know, it irks me about that jump screen. You'll see when it kicks in here. You know, whoa, I'm flying through all these nebulas and wow, it looks amazing, but I want to stop and look at them if they were real ones. And they repeat.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two,
I think my battery's just gone on my joystick. Batteries are super, super crap. Oh, where's my new battery pack? This is going to be fun because I don't want to do a loop. No, it's done. Right, gotta get new batteries and hopefully I don't loop into the sun. That's what I was thinking. I was so lucky, it was literally as I made the turn. I've got finger skills, I'd have logged out there quicker than you'd have seen if I'd have thought I was going to hit it, but we'll see. I only replaced these batteries yesterday, so it's not the batteries. It's not a good sign. Let's see if it's the receiver. I think it was the receiver for some reason. Wasn't covered. Well, I better save those batteries then. Right, off we go. Keep going.
Frameshift drive charging.
Throw them away by. I don't want to throw them away by accident.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Yeah, I'd have logged that quicker than you'd seen if I'd have been going towards that star. Like I said yesterday, this it's not the best joystick in the world, but it's better than using the joypad, I think.
Disengaged. Frameshift drive.
Having said that, my dexterity with a joypad, I think actually things like landing, it'd probably be better for me.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. Fuel scooping.
That wasn't a bad one, that was 25. Oh, hang on. No, I didn't actually.
Frameshift drive charging.
Let's see. Yeah, I've definitely done the throttle thing. To be fair, I automatically throttle down. I've put the button in there because I'm hoping that I get used to tapping the button. But I didn't realise I was watching a video. I think I was watching a video about it, or I was looking at my throttle or something, where I realised that when I throttled down to 75, that's pretty much what I was doing. Anyway, I generally get that loop of shame. It's from when you're not paying attention, so that I end up doing the loop of shame. I don't necessarily have the I don't generally do it through missing the time stamp of inability to watch it. I think what might be interesting actually is setting a button up for 50 and 25 when you're doing planetary entries, because let's see, Rebel Galaxy, they use jump gates instead of frameshift. Yeah, don't they do something the same in X? I didn't like the one in X. It was a jump gate, but it was like a tube as well, like you kind of had to stay inside, then you can drop in and out. I hated it. I don't know why. A jump gate, I'm trying to think what films I've seen a jump gate in. I know what you mean, essentially. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just this one, it's bugged me since day one. Like you kind of seen all these nebula flying around you, and yet you've literally got to do what I'm doing now if you want to go see a nebula. It feels like it's not in touch with the game. And when I was reading about it, they were saying like they didn't do a Star Wars version because you're not flying past that many planets per jump. So I kind of get that, but then aren't they kind of doing it in a bad way by having you fly through nebula? I don't know, it just feels a bit weird. I think it's just a case of they came up with that, decided that they're going to use that, and they're not interested in anybody else. Which, to be fair, depending on how long you spent working on it, I wouldn't give a damn either. One of the things I was thinking last night actually is I'm considering, I've tried Eve, which it looks like that game you were on about. I was checking it out. That kind of works somewhere in between this and Eve, doesn't it? Or it seems like it does in that way. Eve was a bit too complicated for me, I'll be totally honest. Well, not complicated, but I think finicky is the word. And I was looking, well, I've always been watching the progression of Star Citizen. And I'm thinking of investing in the beta of Star Citizen just to... I know that the world doesn't work properly. I know it's not. It's nowhere near where Elite is now. But it does feel the galaxy in that game is more inhabitable, even if it is in beta. I think it'll be fun to play. I don't think you'd be able to put huge sessions into it, because I think you'd feel that eventually they'd probably start feeling a bit worthless. But I hope that game finishes development. Something tells me it's never ever going to reach the finished stage. I think it's just going to be in development forever. Oh, well, not forever, until nobody wants to back it anymore, and then they'll run out of money and it'll close the studio down. Ah, Thargoid wormhole drives. Oh, I haven't heard about that actually. I haven't even read about it. Is that how they travel? And yeah, Eve is actually really pretty. I like the way it looks. I tell you another game I really liked, which I should try a bit more of, is Mass Effect Andromeda. I know it's a completely different game. It kind of mixes genres between a third-person shooter and what should we say? Third-person shooter and well, not an MMO, but RPG game. Kind of mixes all those things. I know it got a load of hassle on release. but I actually think it's a really good looking game. And depending on how the enemy gets, the later down in the storyline you go, there's a certain amount of movement within the station, within the space station and whatnot. You can go backwards and forwards and talk to various people. I think Mass Effect Andromeda is quite underrated. Take away all the bad things from it. I know, sometimes I just wish somebody could mix up something between this, Alien Isolation, Mass Effect Andromeda. I realise Frontier developments don't have necessarily the money that a huge company has, and if a huge company had the money that Frontier has, they wouldn't be interested in making the game that Frontier makes, so it's kind of, you're always in that hole. What I am really looking forward to actually is totally off the space subject, is the Jurassic Park game that Frontier are developing. Looks outstanding. Really, really does. Like, I grew up on, well, not grew up, I was in my teens I think, but I really enjoyed Jurassic Park. And although there was a Operation Genesis or something they made, which is pretty good, to be able to build a Jurassic Park in a graphics engine these days is going to be really, really fun. Just give me a second, I'll read that message. Oh, that's nice, 48 objects, that'll do. Yeah, actually, I did visit a Thargoid once. I went to say hello. He basically spat something at me and then buggered off and killed me. And left his little minion things behind to finish me off. So I didn't target him, I didn't do anything. I might have got a bit close, but yeah, but I'll definitely have a look for that, because there is, I don't know what I linked. There's something I linked where it gives you all the coordinates for the Thargoids. Luckily, I think when I did meet that Thargoid, I was only in my Diamondback, so the rebuild buy on this is quite small. The other thing I really wish Frontier would do is allow you to change the UI colours. Now, I don't actually have a problem with them as such. I have changed them in the past, but it can make some parts of the game look really... There is a way of changing them, but it can make other parts of the game look really ugly because it's not been designed to be looked at in those colours. It can definitely make things on the map seem... you don't know what's the good guy, what the bad guy is, who's the highest threat level. It can really throw all that stuff off. But I'm sure they can do something where if the hue or whatever is in the correct way, you're going to be able to tell with different setups. It would be nice to see. Oh yeah, I saw that one a while ago. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, I prefer my dinosaur. I prefer my dinosaur games. I'm gonna say to be a bit more realistic, which is ridiculous to say, because what I'm gonna say is obviously unrealistic. But if you remember Dino Crisis, I absolutely love that game. I'd love them to do a modern day version of that. I think it'd sell. Operation Genesis, or the Frontier version that they're going to make. I think that's going to be great. I really do. I think they're going to do a good job with it. I tried what you call the Telltale's game version of Jurassic Park, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't mind games that tell stories. I've got I've got Beyond Two Souls. What's Heavy Rain? What's the other one that they did as well? Fahrenheit. I've got all those ones and I love them ones. I think they're great. But there's just something about the Telltale Games ones. I'm not a huge fan of it. Didn't mind the first Walking Dead one. Wasn't too bad. But the Jurassic Park one, I was kind of give a take on it, which is strange because it's based around the first movie. Oh, got a bit close there to the lines.
Frameshift drive charging.
Okay, so now we're getting into the Turok. Yeah, I think I played Turok actually back in the day. Was it PlayStation 1? 4, 3, if it was PlayStation 1, I must have played it.
Frameshift drive charging.
Nintendo 64, so maybe I'm sure I've played Turok. I'm absolutely positive I have. I'd never had a Nintendo 64 though. I did have a housemate at the time who had one, so I must have played it.
Fuel scooping.
Because I remember playing GoldenEye. But I think that was available for the PlayStation as well. Although maybe it's just my memory's going. I don't know.
Frameshift drive charging.
I mean, the PlayStation 1 for me is one of the golden years of gaming. Like, obviously take away Super Nintendo and Mega Drive because they just were a completely new step in a new direction. But when the PlayStation 1 came along, it was a game changer. I remember actually being physically terrified by Resident Evil the first time I played it. And you play it back now and you're just like, what? Because I wasn't even that young. It was just the premise of it, the 3D graphics, the sound. It was something completely new.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Oops.
Frameshift drive charging.
I scan the system? I don't know if I'm going to beat the frame shift now. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I didn't, did I? Dang it. Ah, yeah, maybe it was Turret 2 then. Maybe it was Turret 2 that I played. I mean, actually... Whoa, hang on, what's happened here? Hope I haven't dropped in somewhere weird, because I've got, like, some weird... Whoa! That's the first close shave I've had. That was really strange. Kind of when I dropped in there, I don't know if you saw it, but there was this really strange... glare. The sun was nowhere near me, but then even though I pulled back on my throttle, it catapulted me towards the sun. So I don't know if that was a binary star or something with a, I've forgotten what you call it, with a white dwarf behind me or something that forced me away. That was scary.
Frameshift drive charging.
So fuel's getting down a bit. What are we on? 6.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Oh, did I say I thought I'd be there at 9:40? It's not gonna happen.
Fuel scooping.
I don't mind, I'm not complaining, don't really... I've got a few hours to play tonight.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
I actually was thinking about making some videos about old games, actually. I've got an emulator.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'd love to revisit some old ones. I still play the original Super Mario Kart every now and again, I absolutely love it. Still play Star Fox every now and again, love that one. I've tried some old Amiga games like Elite, it just doesn't work anymore. Unfortunately. Oh, it really doesn't.
Fuel scooping.
You can keep your memories, keep them where they are, because whoa, some of those games.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
And the thing is, some of them seem more difficult now than they ever did before.
Fuel scooping.
So the nebula that I'm going to, I think, is that one dead ahead just to the right. Well, I said dead ahead just to the right. Right, it's dead ahead now. I think that's the nebula I'm heading for. From a distance, they kind of come upon you after, I think it's about 10 jumps beforehand, you start seeing it really increase in size.
Fuel scooping.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to have to do a fuel scoop at somewhere along the point, because I'm just not... And luckily that one was a little bit more than I needed.
Frameshift drive charging.
Let's.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Ah, yeah, Turek did come out for the PlayStation, I think.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Have you had a look into any have you had a look into
Frameshift drive charging.
any emulators? I know that the Game Boy Advanced, what was the last Nintendo? I think even the Switch, they're working on an emulator at the moment.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
I know for the Nintendo stuff, there's a huge community, so the stuff gets emulated quite quickly by them. I know that the emulator for the PlayStation 2 now is pretty much
Fuel scooping.
working properly, so you can play pretty much any game on it, which is good. The PlayStation 3 one is getting there, but it's by no means there. But they've definitely had some huge breakthroughs recently, which I think is good, because a lot of the PlayStation, I'd happily buy a PlayStation 3 to play retro games on, but so many of them now in the second-hand shops are so defective, or when you buy them they're already on the last legs, and going back numerous times to discuss getting your money returned or a new version, and going through that whole "you've only got 30 days blah 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 blah" thing, it's getting boring. I'd rather just take my games and play them on an emulator. And the PlayStation, whatever it's called, whereas I love the fact that I can actually finally, in theory, play Red Dead on the PC, which I did for a few days. I love being able to do that, but I just don't think I'm prepared to pay that much per month. I'd rather actually just pay for the game. I'd rather pay a markdown version for the game and play it that way on the PlayStation 4.
Frameshift drive charging.
Okay, yeah. So, and VBAM, what's that one? I've just not come across it. That's all.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. Fuel scooping.
Right, what I'm actually going to do here is oh, I've gone a bit too close. Never mind, I'll do it on the next one. Oh, I've done it, haven't I? That's because I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so how many jumps are we in? I've got 54. Okay, so I've done nearly 100 jumps without messing up. And it was only that second when I took my eyes off the screen that I did it. Oops, don't want to do that. Well, actually we do. Deploy a heatsink. Can I do it through the planet, or is it? Well, no, it's around the planet. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a. So what we're at, 52. Okay, that's probably not bad. I don't think I need to use a heatsink here, actually, if I just point away from it.
Cannot comply. Frameshift drive charging.
As long as it connects to the escape vector well enough.
4,
There you go.
2, 1.
Ah, right, okay. There's actually a really good Game Boy, one that I saw. Can't remember its name though.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Okay, so I'm gonna scoop the next planet just to be on the safe side, I think.
Frameshift drive charging.
Thank God I didn't have to use a heatsink.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
The one emulator as well that I've really liked is the I've forgotten the name of them now. The two for the Sony handhelds. They're pretty much all up and running perfectly, which is good because those handhelds are going to become they're going to become hard to come by soon.
Engaged. Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Okay, so let's try and fuel scoop this one.
Fuel scooping.
33. I'll try and sit here and see if this does the business. Okay, that's good. The heat's not going up. Let's go and check 1 or 2 things here. Okay, we're full.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift
Well, I never got either of them, but in all honesty, I kind of wish I had. I like the idea of being able to play PS4 games, streaming them through it, and things like that. When you're in another room of the house or whatever. Not that I necessarily have the need to do that often. Just to have the option to do it would be nice. But I don't know about buying games for it per se. I don't want to be paying full-on price. Like, I don't think the prices of where I live, the prices definitely haven't come down. They still pretty much charge what they would have cost before, so it's quite difficult to.
Fuel scooping.
They got a funny thing in Spain. They don't second-hand things don't really come down in price that much.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
but I know that the PS Vita with certain, I think it's the Vita that with certain things, I think like Ghost Recon Wildlands, you've got a map on it, so you use it for the map instead of having to press pause all the time. I think you can tag people on it, tag enemies or something on it, which I just like that idea. I mean, that's one of the things I love about PC gaming, because there's so many extra add-on apps you can get, either that run in Windows. For example, I have a voice one, which I really like doing. So you don't even really have to press many buttons. It'll pretty much do everything for you, and especially in combat and things where you want to target ahead or go for the most dangerous enemy, it's kind of just immediate. The only one I don't like is it won't, what does it not do? It won't do an auto dock no matter how many macros I've put into it. But I have got a couple of things on a tablet. I can actually control Elite through my tablet if I want them, which is pretty cool. I don't very often do it because I've got the speech one now, so I generally use the speech one, but I just love the ability to control certain aspects to the tablet.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, the whole thing of buying stuff second-hand here is ridiculous. Because I've always kind of done that. I generally wait until the games have been fully patched, all the kinks have been wound out of it, and that's when I generally want to play it. I don't play many games at launch unless I've tried the beta and I like it. Hopefully, I mean, if I can get the numbers up on this channel, I can start contacting some companies and maybe to get free copies of games to test out and to give honest reviews. But then again, you're probably not going to be able to give that honest reviews, which is something which I would be completely against. So that's kind of got its own things as well. But I certainly, when I lived in England, you know, if you had a spare £10, you'd just walk into a shop and you'd be able to pick up maybe 2 games. Here, no way.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Yeah, that one's quite nice. I don't know if you ever saw the British science fiction comedy show called Red Dwarf. It's about some guys in space. It's kind of a really popular one here, a comedy, and they actually used the ship's computer from that. They got him into the studio and got him to do a voice pack for it. And I've often thought about downloading that one. The William Shatner one as well. Love the idea of that. That would be good. There is a freeware one somewhere. Couldn't tell you where, you'd have to look into it. I did come across it. There's a freeware one that works with voice attack, but you do have to pay for a voice attack profile or something. I think it's like, I can't remember if it's $5 or $10 or something. And there is one where it's a female voice and she talks to you more than the regular one does. The thing I like about it is that they've programmed multiple responses, so although they do repeat, I'm sure they repeat quite a lot. I think it's less boring in that sense. Obsidian Ant actually did one himself, which I think would be really interesting. I used to hate his voice when I first started watching his videos, but his videos are so good that you just can't stay away from them. And to be fair, his voice has grown on me, and the guy just does so much for this game, and he does so much in it. Yeah, the Morgan Freeman one. Well, the only problem I always see with the Morgan Freeman one is I'll explain last night as a perfect example. I'd be falling asleep. Morgan Freeman's got the type of voice that if you were a millionaire, you'd pay him to come and talk you to sleep, read your bedtime stories, you know. And the reason I'm laughing is because last night I actually watched, well, I didn't watch it, but I had Shawshank Redemption running on the tablet, and the first bit, as soon as he started talking, I was off to bed. You know, he's just got that soothing voice. So maybe Morgan Freeman is going to be held responsible for thousands of ships smashing into the suns as they arrive into systems. And I think just for the cheesiness value of it, I think the William Shatner one will be fantastic. I would have preferred it if they'd have got Jim Carrey doing William Shatner. That'd have been much more fun, but I think those voice packs and stuff is all about working out the value of the game to you. I'm really against throwing money at games, but I'm not against putting money into games. So I'll give you some really good examples. I got Madden football. I paid 79 euros. I think it was 79 euros. 69 euros, sorry. I've played probably 24 hours of it. It's there. I'll play it again, I'm sure. I love it. I like it as a game. I like having it. I wouldn't want to sell it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
But is it worth 69 euros in reality? I question it. Whereas this game I've put, I think I'm up to 600, 700 hours now. Not taking away the original hours that I put in before resetting my account. And sometimes I think, you know, I really maybe should think about in the future, just thinking a bit more clearly about it, and instead of investing that type of money in Madden, is actually playing those types of games where I'm only investing a few hours into them but enjoying them, is maybe buying the year before when it goes down in price, and then I can use that 60 euros or whatever, or $60 to invest into something like this if I'm wanting an add-on pack, or I'm wanting, you know, I've got a few paint jobs in this game, and to be honest with you, the paint jobs are completely pointless. They don't add anything to it. They're purely cosmetic, and they're not even really that cosmetic because you rarely see them. You know, when I'm coming back from a long trip and I've got loads of data, the last thing I'm doing is hanging around outside an orbital checking out people's paintwork. You know, I got to check out your Raider pack yesterday because I came out the system early. And came to have a look at it. So it's pure, these things are like purely cosmetic. But is one of those voice packs cosmetic, or is it actually going to bring quality of life to your game? I think if it brings quality of life to your game, it's maybe worth considering saving up and investing in it. Even if it's a long term, you know, even if you think, oh, you know, I'll cut something out. What was I doing last month where I wanted to save? I only want to save a little bit of money last month, and every Tuesday I go for a coffee in a cafe between one of my classes, and I just thought, no, for the next month I'm going to go home, have my cup of coffee at home, and then go to my class, and I've saved like 20 euros or something from doing that in the last couple of months.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, Obsidian Ant, he definitely does grow on you, especially when you know that he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't lie about anything. He genuinely cares about the community. He's got, having done I did documentary directing course at university, and So I've kind of got a filmer's eye, and I watch his videos and I'm like, wow, he's really got that. He's kind of got his technique down with the way that he can manipulate the camera. I mean, I've often thought about doing the same thing but there's so many different key commands you've got to put in, and I just can't be bothered to sit down and do it at the moment. I think he does some post editing to make the colours flare a little bit. He seems to know his computer stuff because he's got his planets in a higher resolution than they appear in the game, which there are some mods out there and they tell you how to do it, but when I did it, the textures wouldn't load properly. So
4, 3, 2.
yeah, I mean, well, whether you feel it's wasted or not, I mean, as daft as it sounds, I'm sitting in the ship now and I know that it's yellow outside, and to me that kind of makes me feel happy. But does it make a difference if it's black outside? But I'm sat here thinking, yeah, it actually would. I'd be sat here thinking I wouldn't mind a yellow paint. But I think it's one of those things that if you, like I say, it's a quality of life thing. If it makes your enjoyment of the game go up, and if you're going to take some nice photographs of your ship, then, you know, it wasn't a bad investment.
Frameshift drive charging.
I've invested in a couple of things. I've invested in a couple of paint packs. What else drove me up the wall that I didn't have? That's unnecessary. Ship names. Ship nameplates. Was it nameplates? Yeah, ship nameplates. So the one with the designs and everything that you can put on. Annoyed me that I didn't have them, so I bought some of them as well. Yeah, I watch his videos. I like him. The strange thing, I love his sense of humour. I genuinely do love his sense of humour. He swears a bit too much for my liking. I've got a thing about swearing. I think it's just being English and being a teacher and hearing children saying swear words all day because they're learning English. I always say that you only swear when you know when to use the word correctly. And so I've always found it very difficult. There's two things specifically on YouTube that I generally stay away from. That's swearing and people who scream down the microphone. That's why, even though I love Madden games, I couldn't possibly watch any of those videos with the rap music in the background and people just screaming down the microphone. I love rap music myself. Don't have any problem with the music. I just, as soon as I hear that music and I hear somebody going, "What up, boy?" I'm like, okay, gotta get that off. Not dealing with that stuff. So, and his videos, like I say, I love his sense of humour. Like, sometimes he's had me in stitches with some of the things he comes up with. There's another guy who kind of does stuff in military voices and advertising style voices. Don't know if you've seen any of his. He's really good as well.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift.
Oh yeah, there was actually on Lave, not Lave Radio, yeah, on Lave Radio and the podcast the other week they were talking about this. I can't remember how much they said. I think it's over €100. I think it's right up there. Some people who invested in the original beta paid a huge amount to get everything, because they were having a discussion that they're entitled to pretty much everything that comes out for this game, and one of the reasons why Beyond might be free is because Frontier don't want to piss the people who bought these original beta accounts. So I'm guessing they're going to bring Beyond, and then they're going to say, okay, those betas, now they're finished, you're going to have to pay for them. And they were having a discussion about whether they want to pay for them or not, and most of them were saying, yeah, you know what, we've got so much out of this game. They also have some special paint packs which nobody else has.
Frameshift drive charging.
Well, you know, like, it's each person to their own, you know. Swearing's fine. I mean, Joe Pesci, great swearer, really good at swearing. Samuel Mother Jackson, great. You can listen to them swear all day. It's like I said, it's an art form. If somebody can swear well, That's a good thing. But I often find that some people don't use swear words in the exact correct way, and that kind of bothers me. It's not specifically because I'm a teacher or anything. It's
Fuel skipping.
I know. I think us English people are just snobs when it comes to the language. Oh,
Integrity compromised. Warning.
right, I don't know what happened there. I noticed the orbit lines weren't on, and then it just dropped me in. So I don't know what type of sun is that. Just to make sure I don't bump into these in the future. Lock destination. Where is it? Wow, this ship's got very, very low maneuverability at times. What am I sitting at? 52. I might be able to jump out of this. No, it certainly does, yeah. I mean, I always think about, like, Monty Python movies. They would swear, in a Monty Python movie, they'd swear every now and again. And it's just always in the exact correct position. Like I say, it might just be a snobby English thing. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I can jump out of this without taking damage. I hope. What are we at? 70? Yeah, we're gonna get out of this easy. So I don't know what it is about this Diamondback, but it really does. I didn't even overheat at all there. It deals with the heat really well. And I'm completely unbeknownst why.
Warning. Temperature critical. Fuel skipping.
Oh, 35 extra objects. That's not bad. So what have we got? 35, 40, 43.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
But yeah, if you think about, like, I'm trying to think. I was just trying to think of the most obscure person to swear, who it would probably really piss you off if you actually heard them swearing. Morgan Freeman. Imagine Morgan Freeman with a potty mouth. That would drive you crazy.
Fuel scooping.
Morgan Freeman just effing and blinding left, right and centre. You wouldn't sell many cars, would you?
Frameshift drive charging.
The reason I'm grinning is because I can hear him swearing at me in my head now.
Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping.
The other thing I'll give the Amex is he actually makes really good visual videos as well. Even when he's making them jokey, he does a really good job with that camera suite. He does a really good job with it.
Frameshift drive charging.
Went a bit too early there.
Four, three, two, one. Engage.
I was thinking of actually making some a YouTube because I love comedy. I think comedy makes the world go around. I was actually thinking about making a separate YouTube channel, a comedic one, because quite often I'm a bit of a whiskey aficionado. I don't have a lot of money, but on special occasions I buy a really good bottle, and I really enjoy my whiskey. And so I have a few books, you know, that kind of, they're a bit snobbish. I mean, I'm not that type of person, but I know a good whiskey when I taste it and I enjoy it. But there's a load of books that tell you which flavors to look out for, and people always buy me these as presents because they think, because I like it, I want to be a snob about it. But sometimes I'll sit down and just read the book in a child's voice, but a child's voice doing these kind of snobby whiskey reviews, and my housemate said it's hilarious. But I'm not sure whether I would have to do it with the whiskey in front of me or something. But maybe somebody will pay me to do it, and maybe they'll give me free whiskey. So now Morgan Freeman doing whiskey reviews, that'd make you buy bottles of it. You'd be out of pocket pretty fast, or at least I would. Okay, we're getting into the final jumps now. This is exciting. This is probably the longest I've travelled in a long time. And I haven't got any more coffee. I don't think. I think I ran out earlier. And that's another thing they don't have in Spain. That's Sunday opening. I'm actually quite proud of myself that I haven't had the urge to I haven't had an urge to go in and out of the galaxy map, but now I am. Sometimes when I'm doing long distances, I waste so much time looking at the galaxy map, just seeing, you know, the distance I've travelled and whatnot, and then sometimes I'll drop in somewhere and there'll be 30 odd planets, so you know that there's a potential for an Earth type there. But when you're doing a long distance like this, you've really got to concentrate on just keep your eye on the prize.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, and you can actually I've kind of been reading a lot about YouTube and how it works, because I know that you can. There's a guy who I'm connected to on my subscriptions, and this guy sits and does elite videos every day. He doesn't talk, I don't think, or if he does talk, he only talks a little bit. And to be honest with you, his kind of video, you can maybe just chill out and do something else while you're watching them, and I actually don't think that's a bad thing. But he doesn't schedule any events. He doesn't do any splash screens for his videos or anything. And I kind of felt like I started like that. I wasn't doing any proper splash screens, and as daft as it sounds, it does bring people towards the channel. And what I did find out today is you can actually have multiple channels linked. So you do one sign-in, but you have access to your different parts. And depending on what you're doing, you can sometimes link them over so you can drive traffic from one to the other. But I mean, the original reason I set this account up was I wanted to do honest video reviews, because I think the current climate, companies holding videos back and not even allowing reviews these days until the day they come out is just ridiculous. Yeah, well, that's why I said in my thing earlier that I have there's those 3 stations. I mean, for me, they're the outskirts of what I use. Lave radio I listen to quite a lot. Elite Escape Velocity I quite like, but that can be, you can go through that in a sitting. I love listening to a guy called Joe Rogan. Oh wow, that nebula's finally, look at that, that's finally coming into view. Can you see all the extra stars around it? I suppose if you're looking on your phone, it might not be big enough, but the nebula that I've been jumping towards is definitely starting to get more activity around it, this jump. You can see a ton of stars kind of clustered in the center of it. So this is, and I'm still quite a way out, so yeah, so Joe Rogan, I love his podcast because they're so different. Some of them are really bad, well, they're really boring, but some of them are amazing, and it's kind of finding the ones that are amazing. But if you look in the show notes, generally tells you what he's talking about in that episode. He speaks to astrophysicists sometimes, so that can be really interesting, talking about the universe and how it works. There's a really good one he did with Dr. Brian Cox, which runs for about 3 hours, and it's just them talking about physics, metaphysics, and whatnot, how the universe works, and it's just an outstanding interview. But yeah, if you can talk on while you're doing it, I think it definitely takes away from it. I don't actually have a second screen, which I wish I did. I could, but we use it for the television in the house, so I don't want to utilize that one if my housemate's using it half the time. And when my housemate's watching TV, the TV's behind me, so I don't really get to watch it. But I do have I play Elite in borderless, so I quite often will just, especially when I was doing those passenger missions and you kind of fly in a straight line for 40 minutes, I would just tab a small VLC screen into it, and then obviously when you got interdicted or whatever, you just click once and you're back in the game, but you can watch both things at once. Well, that nebula's looking really it's looking really good now. It's actually I'm quite excited for this. How many jumps? 23. There's just a cluster of stars in there. I'll have to read up a bit on it just before I arrive. I'm so excited. I didn't frame shift. The universe, the core's getting much brighter now. It's getting bigger as well, actually. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's because of that dropout that I don't think I'm scooping as close to the suns as I could, because the fuel's running down quite heavily. My jumps have gone up a little bit, but I wouldn't say it was anything special that they've gone up. Oh yeah, it's not. It's definitely. It's looking really good now. I mean, there's so many stars in that kind of small location. I think the description I read earlier said there's some black holes in there and things, so it's going to be interesting to have a look at. And there's a fact that there's a station in the area is just even, you know, because you can arrive, sell your data, so you're not going to lose the money or anything for that. If you do anything stupid to blow yourself up, you know that you're gonna be back at that station rather than back in the bubble, wasting all your time. I'd love to go out to Beagle Point one day. I really would. It probably won't be for a long time. I might do it in the summer. Just because I have some time off in the summer, I'd love to spend a couple of days going out to Beagle Point and spend a few hours sat doing it. I think I'll have to seriously look into the engineering side. I'd like another 10 light years on this frameshift drive. Wow, I'm really starting to get a sense that I'm heading towards the center of the system now. I don't know why. It's just when it's kind of light all around you, but it's not super light. And you can see loads of nebulas around here. It seems like a cluster of them in this area.
Frameshift drive charging.
I should stop looking around and just get to my destination, and then I can truly try to appreciate it. And I can have a look at which stars are closest. So I'm getting my best view for my money. If there's any planets I can land on with the SRV, that's going to make it even. That's going to top it off, I'm sure.
Fuel scooping.
That wasn't a bad one. 48 astronomical objects.
Disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Yeah, but I don't mind that. I might try and find somewhere out in between that I can go have a look at, or maybe do like a triangle. If I can do like a triangle and do it that way, then I can visit 2 other places and get back. We'll have a look. I'll have a look at a good look at the map and everything. I mean, I'm not in a rush to get back to the bubble. There's nothing particularly waiting for me. I still need to do a bit of that FedRank mission. But I'm gonna have to do that when I'm in a grinding mood, which I think after I've been out in the black for a while, I think the grind will seem like a walk in the park. Yeah, that nebula's looking amazing now. We're not even close to it yet. Just look at all those stars around it. I'm just wondering how bright it is actually in the nebula.
Four, three, two, one. Engage.
I think the one thing I do want to invest in, maybe in the next week or so, is a new microphone stand, because this one's killing me. I have to kind of hunch forward.
Fuel scooping.
I was actually looking at like a lounge chair the other day that I can like one of those kind of more modern ones, you know, the ones where you can lie back and even fall asleep in them if you want to, and actually trying to put some tables on the side so I can put my joystick and mouse on it.
Frameshift drive charging.
So it's a bit more relaxing rather than sitting feeling like you're sat at a work desk. That's something else I think they should implement into this game, actually. I was just thinking about it there, was you come a long way out here and, for example, you don't want to go back. Why wouldn't... If your ship can be transported and passengers can be transported, why can you not be transported?
Fuel scooping.
I think they'd say, oh, because we'd have to do it instantly, because then you wouldn't be able to play the game. While you'd have to wait while you were transported back. But I don't know, you could put a penalty. I know we're not gonna... I think it's because we wouldn't be in game. I was gonna say you could put a penalty of like an hour. But that wouldn't serve anything on their side. But
Frameshift drive charging.
I don't think anybody would abuse it, because you'd still have to maybe they could transfer you instantaneously, but you'd have to transfer your ship back or something. It like maybe force you to buy a sidewinder if you don't have another ship until your ship returns.
Fuel scooping.
Well, that nebula's getting really big now,
Fuel scoop disengaged.
so we're definitely getting up close. Still got a few jumps to go as well. Is it binary?
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, maybe even if you limit it, yeah, maybe if you don't...
4, 3, 2, 1.
Because I think the one thing, I've mentioned it in videos, and I don't want to be too negative in certain situations, because it's a great game and whatnot. I think you have to look after the casual gamers.
Fuel scooping.
I genuinely do. As somebody who casually games some games, I think, and kind of feels left out, or not so much left out, although like what do they do in Madden and FIFA and stuff like that? They have these kind of like trading card things. It's a complete robbery. It's a fruit machine basically, just an unregulated fruit machine. And in other games they have loot boxes and whatnot, and it's for casual gamers, this is just, it's not the way to play. And I just don't think enough people, when they're doing the games and whatnot, that they don't really keep the casual gamers in mind, because they're trying. I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to get you to put hours into the game, aren't they? My belief is that actually it's not the company's necessarily choice to do this, it's the developers, because they want to keep a job after the game's been finished. I mean, developers for the last few years have just been taken advantage of so much by big companies. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't doing some of these things to make sure that they have a job for 3-4 years after the games come out. Well, that nebula looks amazing now. And we're not even there yet. Look at how big that is. Come on, keep jumping. There was a video. I mean, if you haven't got the money to invest in a microphone, well, check Amazon out for a start, because sometimes, my God, there's some seriously good prices on Amazon. But I was watching. We don't have them in Spain. We have something similar, but it's not cheap. Places like Goodwill, when they sometimes like what is it? Target or somewhere like that, when they bring in the new version of a certain headphone, they might chuck some of the others out, because they don't chuck them all out, because they do want to sell some of them, but they know they're not going to be able to sell the total stock, so they get rid of it. And then Amazon as well. I mean, Amazon, some days you just get great deals on things. I'm kind of against big shopping, but sometimes with Amazon I will buy stuff from them simply because of their policies. I was explaining earlier that a lot of the second-hand shops, when you buy something, or not even second-hand shops but normal shops, you buy something and it's broken when you get it home, it's such a pain in the ass to get a refund. Whereas Amazon just don't care, they just refund you and that's it. They'll send you another one if you want another one, they'll refund you the money if you don't, and it's kind of no quibble. All depends on how much I want something, but yeah, definitely. And I mean, some of the games just require so much time, so much time. I mean, one of the games I own, which I actually really enjoy playing, is an NBA game, but I choose not to play it over other things, because it playing one game from the next, there's no value in it. My experience doesn't change. But with those games, when you have like a player career mode, they expect you to play. You can tone it down, but it doesn't help you as a player. But they really kind of expect you to play 86 NBA games a year or whatever. And even at 5 minutes, it's a part-time job. But that's why they introduced pay-to-win, isn't it? That's why EA said, oh, we're putting pay-to-win in Battlefield, because there's people who can't put in the time. Well, that's not the answer. But unfortunately, they don't want their product to become stale, because they're putting so much money into games these days that they want them to have a longer life. Not for you, for them. They don't want to be investing quickly. Right, this is getting serious now. Look at all these stars. The nebula's huge.
Ready to engage.
How far off are we? 8 jumps, wow. So even when I get to this station isn't the closest I can get to the nebula. There's probably a couple more jumps I can do. I just want to go to the station and repair the ship, log in, dock in there, so it knows where I've been there in case I blow up or anything. Okay, so what time are we on? We're on 2 hours. So actually, really, I'm going to be honest with you, 2 hours to get I think I'm a quarter of the way to Colonia. That's actually not too bad.
2, 1, engage.
Or maybe I'm a quarter of the way to the center, I don't know. Kind of half greedily rubbing my hands, wondering how much all this data's worth. I reckon I could have, what, then it's 90, 120, 40, 80, 120. I might have 5 million or something.
Disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Another strange thing about this game is when you first start playing, going out into the black is a really scary prospect. But as you get used to it,
Fuel scooping.
I mean, I haven't. Did I use one heatsink? I don't remember using a heatsink, unless I didn't restock. Maybe I didn't restock. I did use one yesterday. I used to really be fearful of going into the black because if you destroy the ship, you're absolutely done. Whereas now I don't worry too much about it. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yesterday I made 2 million in 40 jumps, and I've pretty much done 3.5 times that.
Frameshift drive.
So if I got 2 million yesterday, I didn't hit 100. Like, I know I got that 100 star, which probably paid me 100 point star, which probably gave me a ton of money.
4, 3, 2,
I'm hoping
engage.
4.5, 5. That's fingers crossed. How much did you make earlier? You did what, 200 light years or something? Do you know how much you made in total? You'll have got, I think you said you spotted one Earth type and, no, was it one Earth type?
Fuel
So
scooping.
you got 750,000 for that.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh, I have, okay. So why does it say 1 of 2? Is that just me being dumb?
4,
Just because I've only got one loaded in or something, I don't know. Wow, that nebula is getting huge, actually. I didn't even notice on that jump. The colours coming in and everything. It's starting to really look like it should.
fuel scooping.
I think the game's testing me now, putting me close to all these white dwarfs. Like when you come out of the, because this is quite a bright sun, so it's probably going to take a couple of seconds, but that nebula now is huge.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Just waiting for it to come into view a bit. So you can see in like the last 20 jumps how much it's come in. I'm probably going to head up to one of those suns to get a really good look at it. I'm not going to spend too long looking at it now because I just want to get to this point. Ah, okay, that's what it means. Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Well, that's good to know. Good information. Thank you. See, I'd have probably been crapping myself thinking I've only got one left. Ooh, that was close.
Frameshift drive charging.
Ah, that's good then. 1.3 million. See, I don't know. There's something about going out and scanning where, okay, the payment isn't huge. If you're doing the road to riches, it's actually pretty good. You're making pretty decent money. But I don't know. There's something. It doesn't feel so bad earning less money when if you're out there looking for your own planet and whatnot. It's not too bad. And especially, I can remember Obsidian Ant was explaining in one of his videos that he hadn't bought a new ship for the first, I don't know, the first 2 years of playing the game, or the first year of playing the game, because he literally left the station and didn't come back. And then when he came back to the bubble, he started doing other stuff and investing in ships and whatnot. But I hope he got the help from Iridium Wing when he flew back in.
Frameshift drive charging.
So yeah, you can see that nebula is huge now. And if we can get up there and then flip ourselves upside down so we're looking up at it, it should be pretty good. Oh, are we here? That's nice. Didn't actually realise we'd arrived. Right, let's do a flyby. And there we go. Right, let's have a look. So, hang on, where's this damn station? Please tell me there's a station. Did scan the system, didn't I? Yep, okay, let's have a look. So we are in Lagoon sector NI 884. Here we go. NISB 410. Might be this one. Okay, so lock destination. We got a surface map. I might. Ah, there we go. There we go. So I spotted that just for reference. I spotted that because here where it says unexplored, there's kind of a step in to the right for the unexplored one underneath, and that just made me think, maybe that's a planetary base or something, because when I checked DDBIO it did say it was there, but it didn't say which planet it was on, or at least I didn't notice if it said which planet it was on. Okay, so we'll have a quick look in there. Oh, why am I doing a flyby? Oh well, I need to be on the other side of the planet anyway, so that's kind of that's a lucky miss. Well, that's good. That means everything you've done's paid off. How many 1 second. How many tons have you got? Oh, I think I've come in just slightly too low on this one. And I'm probably going to end up with a couple of hundred, maybe 100 kilometers to go. Actually, maybe if I can keep on an up glide, I might be able to I don't like that slowing down sound. No, please don't make that slowing down sound. It means you're gonna drop me out miles away. 7. Well, maybe if you stay up high, you can actually slow it down a little bit. I can see the ticker going down. It sounds like that ticker goes down in regards to the end of the glide. So as long as I can kind of keep it from going too fast, I can maybe save this. Okay, actually I did a pretty good job of saving that. We'll dive bomb in now. That wasn't actually a bad job. 46 out of 64, right. What are you mining actually? I didn't ask earlier. Have you gone for some rares, or is it stuff for the engineers?
Permission authorized. Clear to land at docking bay 02. Automated docking initiated.
Scan detected. Landing gear deployed.
Oh, this one of those city places. I like these. I've never really had a good look at them when I've been here. It was actually Obsidian who landed in one of them, I think. Was flying around one of them. It was he made a really good video of it. Just metal, okay. Right, let's enter the hangar. Go into starport services. Let's do something at least. Right, here's the. Let's see how much we can sell this stuff for. Oh, fingers crossed. Okay, so you said 2 million, didn't you? So the first page is 2.1. What did I say? 5? So, but 2.1.
Incoming message.
Oh, alright, 2.1, so that's 3. I think I've only got 3 million for it.
Incoming message.
Oh no. Okay, another 300,000, 3.3. Okay, so I got 3.3, there's 96 and 12, so I got 3.4 million, which, to be honest with you, considering you're just on your way out here anyway, to have a look around, rebuy this ship 700,000, so if anything happened and I blow myself up, it's not, it's an uncontrolled system, part of the Colonial Council. So I just want to have a quick look at, I just wanted to see the type of things that they want over here. I've never done anything independent in this game before, so they want a donation, some mining. Oh, you'd quite like it out here. They've got some mining going on. Okay, so it's basically just mining. And I don't know where the jeweled rings are, so I couldn't actually say with any of this. If somebody wants to go to the Treaty of Karoti. Etc. Blah blah fuel scopes. Back. Low value target secretive. I hate that one, secretive. Being scanned will greatly reduce passenger satisfaction. I hate it. Especially if they want to go somewhere where you're going to get scanned. Really annoys me. Illegal action slightly reduction. So that's like 8 million. That's not what's the distance? Ah, well, there you go. 4,470 light years. That might be back in the bubble though. So I don't know. I'm considering. Oh no, that would be locked to me anyway. So good job. I was considering outfitting. If it had the option, it actually doesn't anyway. So chip integrity is a bit low, so I should fill that up. My paint works not at its best. Also, I've actually got 6. Does that mean I've got 6 heat sinks? Oh, it won't let me have a look at my ship until I go to the surface. So I'll right. So I'm assuming there's nobody in this area. Just want to check that. No, there's nobody else in the area. So, wow, you are 4,399 light years away from me. That's made me feel a little bit lonely now. So I'll return to the surface. I'm just gonna have a quick break to try and grab some coffee before we go have a look at this nebula. Yeah, actually, is deactivating one actually going to help my? Oh god, there's a graphical problem there. I need to actually. I was thinking about this. I might do it tomorrow or something. I need to switch the drive. That might. Oh, see you later. I need to change the drive that I have this game on because I've actually got it on a secondary drive, which. I don't know if it helps some days. So will I get any why does that say unexplored? What was I thinking? Will I get why is my explorer rank not gone up? I've just done like 5,000 light. My explorer rank should have gone up. I'm absolutely sure of it. I can't understand why it hasn't. Maybe it's just I'm having a brain fart. Maybe, I don't know. Does it affect, if I turn on the heat sinks off, does it actually affect my jump range or not? What is my jump range? I remember how you do it now. Jump range. Look at all those permits. Systems visited 1,485. Profits from exploration 272 million credits have been made from exploration. It's pretty damn good. 682 level 3 detailed scans. Highest payout 2.8 million. 43,000, well, nearly 44,000 light year. I didn't know about these stats. Passengers, considering this over a couple of days. Missions accepted 483, protesters 108, soldiers 10, tourists, wow, quite a lot of tourists actually. Freedom fighters, blah blah blah, refugees, medical. Total delivered, ejected. Did I eject? I don't think I ejected anybody. I'd like to. Doesn't tell you how much you've made from passengers, does it? Because I'm only using 82% of my power. I'm just like nowhere near the Okay, yeah, so 41.10. Ah, okay. No, I'm just wondering if it's actually worth turning it off, if it's because it's not even, I mean, my power, I took a better, there's a reason why I did it. I took a better power system because it had a negative effect on heat. So, not, sorry, a positive effect on heat, should I say. So, I've got less chance of burning up when I come in front of the sun because of the fact that I've got this power system and there's some protection in it or something. Let's have a look at this galaxy map. So, actually, first off, we are going to bookmark. Okay, so I should go into the system. Oh really? Okay. I actually didn't know that. That's good to know. Definitely deactivate one. That's maybe why I was thinking that I'd use them earlier. Right, yo, let's have a look at this now. Galaxy map. Okay, so that's bookmarked. That's good. Oh. So you can kind of see. Oof. So if you manage, that's Sagittarius A there. So that took what? I've put 2 hours into it. I could have done it in around exactly 2 hours actually. So Sagittarius is there. Colonia is somewhere over here, sorry. And then Beagle Point would be somewhere, I think, in that ring there. So, you know, you can imagine the amount of time it takes to get to those places. You can only imagine, actually. Okay, so let's drop down to the nebula here. Let's go a little bit further in. We'll go around. So I'm wondering, somewhere like here might... Oh, I jumped away from it. Somewhere like that, this place might be the best to get a view of it. Kind of wanting a bit more of a central view. I mean, where I am now actually should have a half decent view of it, but can I get closer in? No, that's no good, because you don't want to get so close in that you actually haven't got the nebula in front of you. I think that's where I sometimes find it kind of hard to find the right spot. This looks like a good one, actually. Oh. That's the one. Okay. Oh, so that's actually almost inside it, isn't it? I think I might be going to this place. It's only one jump away, so that's good. It's amazing that you can see the look at the nebula here. I mean, it's taking over the planet almost. In actual fact, let's see if we can have a look at it in the free cam. So yeah, just look at that. It takes up the whole... Oops. Get it down a little bit. Oh, that's nice with the ship coming in there. Pretty cool. Alright, so I don't know why, but my when I let's go on that one. Oh, that's going to tell me I've timed out now, isn't it? Ah. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's try it again.
To keep traffic flowing constantly, please submit your access request before approaching the docking area.
Okay, that's a really good. That's a good one for a photograph, actually. Insert. I can use that as a splash screen if I just open Paint and get a copy of it. So this is what we're here for, ladies and gents, but we can actually go have a look at it closer, and I might stay here for a night or two and have a good look around and see if I can find any black holes as well. Ah, right, yeah, because you can make different fire groups, can't you? So I guess you can drop one in one and another in another. Yeah. Oh, why didn't that work? Print screen.
This facility's security system is in operation at all times. Any suspicious acts will be investigated by port authorities.
I think this might be actually one of the most impressive nebulas I've been to. There's a mountain up here I wouldn't mind actually landing on and trying to take a picture of it from there. I think that might make a good one. Elite pics, there we go. So
Pilots are reminded to dock only on their designated landing pads. Unauthorized landing within the perimeter of this port is not allowed.
Right, so let's go have a land on this. Do this now. That way? Yeah. Okay, so we need to turn that. Oh crap. Yes, actually that'll work. Do it that way. Right, then we can do it like that. Oh, it's gonna be close. Don't worry about me talking to myself here, it's just how I am some days. Maybe if I turn my lights off. Lights or no lights. It's not a bad shot actually. If that number 2 wasn't up there, it'd look even better. Right, we'll try saving that one. Undo, paste.
We extend a warm welcome to all commanders arriving on this
There's 2.
and wish those leaving a safe journey.
Right, enough of these shenanigans. Let's go have a look at this. Have a look at this mountain.
Ship detached. You may leave when ready.
To avoid delays, we ask all commanders to land within your assigned time slot. If you fail to land during this time, be sure to clear the area before restarting.
Landing gear retracted.
Wow, that's a pretty good view. Coming up over the top of it like that.
You have now left the port perimeter. Goodbye, Commander.
Right, let's see if we can't get a photograph from this point. Okay, so did you land on any of the planets earlier? This looks like this could be a good spot actually, somewhere up here.
Landing gear deployed.
Yeah, I know it's unsuitable. Where the hell could I land here? I could land there, actually. It's not the perfect spot, but... Let's see. I can't see anything. I love how it says unsuitable terrain. I love how it says unsuitable terrain for me, but when I do the ship recall, it'll pretty much land on anywhere. So yeah, it's not gonna land here. Okay, we can go have a look over there.
Landing gear retracted.
We can go have a look over here on this soft ground over here. I think it's still going to make a good spot to land and maybe take one or two good photos. I love the colour of this nebula. It's amazing. It's a shame really that there isn't more places like this to land. Closer to the bubble. Okay, so I'm going to land somewhere around this crater. And I should check that station for rares as well, actually, before I go back. I might be able to take some rares back. That's another thing they don't allow you to do, which I wish they would, which is to have kind of a trophy cabinet of wares that doesn't take up like cargo space.
Landing gear deployed.
How can this possibly be unsuitable? It's pretty damn flat. Oh, I'll go have a look somewhere else. Try somewhere around here. It looks quite flat around here, actually. Still unsuitable. Let me have a good look at this. This doesn't look unsuitable to me. Considering when you call your ship back, it can land in a gully. Of all places. Probably there's loads of, actually there's a few places flashing blue here. You just have to find them again. There you go, see, there's a blue place. Okay, so let's get our bearings here. There we go, good alignment. Okay, we can get the little scarab out now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the engine works. I'm well aware that it is difficult. Oi. What the heck? My ship's taken off without me. It took off with me. Half in it, half out of it. It's now dropping me on the ground. Right, that's... Thank you. Where the hell's my ship gone? Right, so... Where is my ship? Is it here or is it just fucked off? Right, turns out my ship wants nothing to do with me and it's left me alone on this forbidden planet, so... Yeah, so I don't know exactly how the graphical system works and how easy it is to do something like that. I would like it in X. I think it's X. X3 or whatever it's called. You can do that. You can get out of your ship and walk around in a 3D environment. Albeit one of the worst 3D environments I've ever known. But it's there. And you have the ability to do it, so I don't know. Oh, you can really see the nebula now actually. It's directly above us. So I should stop. That one. Wait. Stupid thing to do. Okay, so no, I shouldn't do that. I should be doing that all the way. Okay, so yep, that's a pretty good one. Oh, that's good. That's handy actually. Yeah, there is on the EDDB.io. You can actually find out what your station needs. There's another place that does it as well. That's really good at it, but I can't for the life of me. Yeah, I think it was on the list this afternoon. There is something that lists what your home system or whatever system you want actually, but what it will list what you need and whatnot. Right, okay, so that's not worked. It's just going to do that one. Okay, so the button doesn't work. Print screen. Okay, there we go. Save as. Wait, wrong button. Come back into there. Where's my website? Right, so just going to read up a little bit on this nebula, see if I can't find somewhere decent to visit straight off the bat. Neutron stars, black holes. Right. This is the first time I'm actually, after I've had a bit of a buzz around in my scarab. I'm not actually looking for anything or trying to. It's not even decent gravity to do any tricks or anything, but just have a bit of a trip to the middle of this. Ah, shut up, woman. Right, okay, so let's just call the ship back. I'm not I can have a look at another one. So Scarab, recall ship. There she is. I do just love the fact that the ship kind of just drops in and then comes to pick you up. So cool. But yeah, I didn't even finish what the thought I was talking about earlier, did I? This whole thing about the seeing like trophies and whatnot. So I've not really looked into what game engine they work, what game engine they work with, and what changes they've made to it. But I know that, or at least I feel that they're severely limited in certain ways, because even doing stuff like making missions boards bigger, they reckon it's almost impossible. Which is why they say that board flipping or board jumping is an acceptable part of the game, because if they could, they'd make the boards bigger, but they can't. And that just seems really, really strange. It's such a small thing as well that they can't seem to board ship. They can't seem to be improved. So if they can't like make that bigger, but when I say like a trophy room, I'm not even asking for something. I'm not even asking for something necessarily separate. I'd love to be able to walk around the cockpit, by the way, or at least be able to do something like have an internal free camera, so you can go outside the ship or whatever with it. But having the kind of camera work internally, I know you can choose various different camera options in the cockpit, but you can't do a free camera in there that I'm aware of. So it would be nice. And even if you could just have like a trophy cabinet here as part of your menu, you know, maybe or when you get to the station you drop them off, but it can kind of be listed as, I don't know, something that you own, something that you have, and it's kind of to say I've been there and I've done it. Now, you know, if I ever want to look back at it, I'll have these videos to say I've been to this place and that place. But I don't know, there's just something, I'd like something in games recognition of it. You know, even here, like with the materials and stuff, they have a list of all the materials you've got. It's there for you to look at. Ship cargo, that's there. Data, that's there. So I can't see why you can't just go around and have. Oh, I didn't notice that had happened there. Where's my YouTube? Chat, okay. Yeah, well, that's. I mean, that's why I was saying to you earlier that I'm considering investing in the beta of Star Citizen, just because literally you can do that. Everything is kind of walkable. The stations, you can walk around the stations, and I'll be honest, I've seen 2 stations that look pretty much the same. You're looking at something as simple as I think they had less money to develop it. No Man's Sky. If No Man's Sky had better graphics, and a better trade system, it would have beaten Elite with a stick by far and away. And if it was a bit more, no, I think that's a bit too simplistic actually. If it was a bit more, what's the word I'm thinking? If it had a bit more work put into it. The game's very, 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 very simplistic. But the graphics don't help that either, because the graphics are kind of cartoony. And I think one of the reasons why so many people have kicked off about that game is that it had much more potential. But yeah, you're right, sitting in the pilot seat can be so monotonous. The stations can be ridiculously monotonous. I mean, you'd think, for example, for a game that's been X amount of time in the making, that they would have a multitude of stations, or creating their own type of process that that will create stations by itself, that you don't actually need the human hand, so it'll take X, Y, Z and elements and build a station out of it. Yeah, you'd think there was a few things that maybe they could do, but I have a feeling that I've not seen Space Engineers, I don't think. Maybe I've seen a video of it, slight video of it. Wait, I didn't realise I was in Super Cruise there. But yeah, this is the thing, you know. You hope, what you do hope is that somebody, whoever it might be, is watching all of these games, these space games at the moment being produced, realising that there's a market for it, and just sitting there taking notes of all the best parts, and then slowly but surely putting something together. Obviously the development process of games is so big, but that's one of the reasons why I think at the beginning Star Citizen was quite interesting, because they said that if you support us, we will create a base game and then we'll build on it. And what they've actually done is they haven't finished the base game, and they've already started making a new game in Squadron 142, even though they say, I think it's Squadron 142, that they are saying, no, it's kind of part of the original game, it's just going to be a storyline, but you are going to have to pay for it, so it's not exactly going to be it's not exactly going to be a part of it and whatnot. But I don't know, it's this game is great. I love it. I do generally love it. There's always, I mean, it doesn't matter what game you play, there's always room for improvement. But I don't know, when I've seen the live streams, when I see the live streams by Frontier, I just get this feeling of some serious amateurism in there, and it feels like a lot of people, they're trying to be kind of like an Ubisoft or something, but even Ubisoft actually can be pretty amateurish at times, where they're trying to be hip and with it with the young kids and producing these videos, and when in reality the videos end up just being ridiculously stupid. Like, they did something that we can laugh at ourselves. So you got to a place earlier and you said, I've forgotten the bit I needed. I think it was a refinery you'd forgotten. You know, these guys that do the Frontier videos, they do exactly the same thing, but the thing is they've got days to prepare for it. They have a cheat system to give themselves stuff, and yet they still manage to leave the station without things. And to me, that's just, it's incompetence. And if there's incompetence in making a 1 hour video, 1 hour video every week, my idea of your competence levels when it comes to making a computer game are going to be quite scary. Let's have a look. So, I can't even remember why I jumped here. I jumped here because I felt it would be a better view of the nebula. Which it's a pretty good view, but it actually seems bigger planet side. I am looking at the nebula, aren't I? Nope. Actually, I'm going to have to plug my phone in because my battery's getting down to ridiculous levels. Yeah, I get what you mean. Let me plug my phone in and I'll finish this thought, because I know what you mean. I'm just trying to think of some real examples of it. This is going to be difficult now to look to my right at the chat when I've been looking to the left for the last 3 hours. I'm going to be staring at an empty desk. So yeah, you're talking about like the realism in the feeling, and I get what you're saying. And I was trying to could think of a few games that I've played through the history of gaming where it's actually felt quite real when you're playing it. But I'm trying to think of a game which would sit in kind of the same position as Elite. So I'm thinking the closest one at the moment that I can think of that gives you more of a feeling from kind of the same position is the current Formula 1 game, because you're in basically the same situation. You're sitting in a cockpit like this, driving around a track and whatnot. You don't move from that. You're in a stationary position all the time. In the game, you actually can move to certain areas of the track. So at one moment you can be in the car. No, you can actually only move to 2. Or you can be in like the hospitality suite. And in each instance, you're only sitting in the position with a laptop in front of you or with your car in front of you, and that's basically it. But what they've managed to do is they've managed to populate the game with characters who, it's not very often, but they come and speak to you and you have a conversation and you kind of feel a part of that world. And especially when you're in the car driving, or when you're in the garage and whatnot, your mechanic talks to you. When you go out onto track, you can actually do it with a microphone as well. You can request information from him and he feeds it back. So when you were saying earlier about having like the Morgan Freeman add-on, that should have come with a game, something like that. I mean, there's voices in this game. There's tons of voices in it. They're adding, well, I think it's a mechanical one, but they're adding voices with. I'll get to your message in a second. I will read it. They're adding voices, the male voice, but I mean, it's not going to really add much extra. I really don't think it would be difficult for them to add those things. If they can't, fine. You know, we'll save up. We'll buy one of the add-ons. I think, you know, like if you're saying you want a little bit more of a fleshed out world, the add-ons definitely. There's some free add-ons out there. There's Market Connector if you want to do trading, and I think that's really gonna. It's an API that actually sits on top of e-game if you play it in borderless. It's amazing. And you can actually click the buttons as well as the buttons in Elite. It works really well with it. So, let's have a look. It keeps closing the chat for some reason. Yeah, I mean, I suppose one of the things about you think about the business of making games, it is like any other business, and do the workers really want to work? Even if they're passionate. I used to live with a couple of guys who used to develop small games. There are a couple of Swedish guys who I lived with who developed small games, and they were working their asses off for next to nothing. And I'll be totally honest about that. When you hear the stories about EA and stuff like that, with the shenanigans that goes on there, you know, you sometimes wonder if people truly want to make the game that is that the fans want to play. I think the only company that was remotely left doing that in recent times was Rockstar Games, but they seem to have been pulled into the, now that they pretty much owned by Take-Two, they've kind of been pulled into the money making thing, and that's all got to go. That's all got to go down as well. So I think it's just such a convoluted world. I think there's a lot of office politics that probably go on as well. That's what I was looking at, Thoughts Eye. There's probably a ton of office politics that go on, you know, because it's an industry mainly with men, so okay. Well, what is this before I select it? Thor's Eye. Ah, it's a black hole. It's a black hole. Okay, that's probably where they have stopped. Some B and A type stars. Okay, yeah, I should actually, let's have a little look in there. I should play around with the galaxy map. I very rarely play around with the galaxy map to its full extent. Let's have a look. It's a cluster of B to A type stars. It's luminous from far away. We can go for some. I think on the beta you can actually search for black holes. Pretty sure you can. Okay, so B-type stars. Okay. If I zoom out, do I have to scoop? No. Right, okay, we'll have a look at, we'll go have a look at this place. I can always come back, I've got it bookmarked and everything, so yeah, so it's kind of like there's so much
Frame shift drive charging.
these guys are like totally overworked. And you're right in that sense, you were saying it as well. I mean, it's funny you should say that, because I'll give you a really good example of actually of a company that managed to do something amazingly well but completely and utterly fuck it up. and then come back to have an amazing game, which was Massive, who made Tom Clancy's The Division. What these guys did, and what they managed to do, is create possibly one of the best open worlds people have been in. I mean, it's a small representation of New York, but it's amazing in its quality, in its, I mean, you can go there, and if you've ever visited New York, you can visibly know that you're in places, and it doesn't feel like Grand Theft Auto's New York. It actually feels grubby. It feels, I mean, it's set in a time when there's kind of been an outbreak and whatnot, but and you can discover new things in it all the time, even though it's quite a cramped area and you know most of the streets by the back of your hands. It just feels like you're in New York. So they built this amazing engine for it themselves. They built an engine from scratch, and they built this amazing world. And I think their original intention was to have a kind of tactical shooter. If you ever look at the original videos and whatnot, it looked like they wanted some type of tactical shooting game. And then somewhere along the lines, someone said, no, we want it more like an MMO. We want the bosses to be very dangerous and ridiculously hard to kill. You're going to have to work as a team. You're going to have to use all these special skills, which in of themselves aren't bad things. But Massive managed to get all the mathematics of it wrong. Pretty much where they could get it wrong, they got it wrong. People were cheesing the game from the very beginning. They were overloading their characters and destroying everybody else. They lost pretty much, I think, 80% of the player base within the first couple of weeks. But fair dues to them, they stuck to it and stuck to it and stuck to it. I've played the game for over a year now, and I still get enjoyment out of playing it. I played it the other night, and I was planning on playing maybe a little bit tonight. I might not get the chance now, but I'll do it tomorrow or the next day. And it's still a perfectly, now they've worked on it so much, it's a really enjoyable game to play. But I had a friend who hasn't played it for nearly a year, and he installed all the new updates the other day and came back to it, and he said it's a completely different game from the beginning. It now feels like what it should have been. So they kind of managed to do it really well, mess it up, and then come back and pull it out the grave. So I don't know, I'm not saying it's not impossible. Maybe they were told they'd never get to make another game if they didn't sort it out, I don't know, but
Frameshift drive charging.
the last message I didn't quite understand because I've been rambling. So I don't know which part you were referring to. So you said I can't do that exactly knowing. I don't know. I can't remember which part you're referring to. Ah, right. Okay. So yeah. Let me get you. Yeah, I mean, it's
Fuel scooping.
I mean, No Man's Sky essentially is an incredibly simple game. It feels just a bit too empty. Once you're down on a planet surface and you're scanning all those crazy animals and whatnot, it actually kind of works out. But for me, in all its simplicity, the graphics are just a little bit too simplistic for my taste. And the whole thing about trying to learn, I don't know if you played No Man's Sky, but it's crazy. Like, trying to learn alien languages, which have basically been made through an algorithm of some sort, and you literally have to learn them word for word. So it'll be like you'll be out in the middle of somewhere and you'll find this hieroglyph and you'll scan it and it'll say, "Oh, you learnt the word for apple." And it's like, all right, cheers. Maybe they have a vocabulary of 300,000 words and I've learnt one of them. Took me an afternoon to get to this hieroglyph. It's really strange, but and then that was a game where they kind of overpromised as well, sadly.
Drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
I just think somebody needs to really this is one of the big problems with everything in the world, is that when money becomes involved, so i.e. companies go on the stock market. Oh wow, that is one hell of a sun. Look at that. That might be the most luminous sun I've ever been across. It's making the sides of the screen blue, it's that strong. Let's have a look, let's try and get a picture of this. And the thing now. Paste. Okay. Say as 5. Ah, right. No, I'm getting what you're saying now. I missed the other message as well. I'm just checking back on it now, so that. Yeah, I mean, programming's mental. Anyway, I tried to do some small things back in the days of well, it's not even programming as such actually, but I tried to get into kind of doing stuff for computer games. What was it, the original Ghost Recon that was out in 2001 or something, 2001, came with an in-game editor which was extremely complicated, considering it was an editor that came with the game. And this sun is huge. It's taken an age to fly past. I hope I'm not going to do anything wrong here. And it came with this editor, which was amazing. So you could make your own missions, and you could, you know, if you did a little bit more, you could make your own maps and things like that. It was a lot of work, but and I got into it, like making missions to go into other people's maps and whatnot, and but there was some coding going into it. You had to use certain mathematics in it. It had certain things you could tell it to do, but of course with programming there's always mistakes, and like you'd ask it to do something and it wouldn't do it, so you'd have to find a way around and all that stuff. And you're absolutely right. It was ridiculously time consuming. Not just making stuff, but going backwards and forwards, checking that it's going to work as you're asking it to work. Like my friend makes websites, and he's actually pretty good at it. But I've sat and watched him program sometimes, and it's ridiculous. You know, just pages and pages of numbers and letters, and then he'll find that it's not working, so he has to go back through it all these lines of code, just looking for this one mistake.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete.
Yeah, it was pretty mental. It was so bright. I mean, one of the reasons, if you noticed, I can't really scoop very well from these ones. Well, I seem to be scooping alright, actually, but it was in the notes on one website. This is definitely like to choose these specific suns to fly around. And I guess I'm flying into... Well, that's another really big one as well. I nearly actually... I left the accelerator on there instead of powering down. So you can just see how big it is, and it takes so long to fly past it. I mean, it's almost like a flat orbital line. Crazy. You see how on your radar it's just not going anywhere, so it must kind of tells you how big it is, and it's still not actually really shrinking, even though I'm out of it. It's great. Okay, so this next one's Thor's Eye, which is supposed to be a black hole, I think, or at least there's a black hole here. If maybe the main sun isn't. Yeah, I mean, when I used to get a mission to work, it was fantastic. I used to love it. You know, putting it on the internet and seeing, like, I don't know, 9,000 people download it to play. And especially if somebody said, "Oh, you know, like this is my new favorite mission to play." It was really cool. Right, so that's not a black hole, so we're gonna have to have a look around for this black hole wherever it is. Let's see, we've got let's have a look. It is Thor's Eye, that's a black hole, isn't it? The thing also lies around here where they stop along the way. Okay. Yeah, shut up. Right, so, there it is. There we go. So, I've never actually visited a black hole before. This is the first time I've actually visited one, so I think it's going to be interesting. And I don't think it's all that far by the looks of it. It is. No. Actually, it's here. It's just hiding. Right, so 8,000 light seconds, okay. So actually what I'm gonna do is go into here, turn off the orbital lines, just so we get a really good look at this. Now, my ship rebuild is only 700,000 credits, so what do you think I should do? Do you think I should maybe try and go inside it, or give it a go? I mean, honestly, I don't mind rebuying the ship. It's not an issue. It's just so strange because I've never actually seen one in the game, and I don't think I've seen one in a video actually. Saw one where I think they flew inside it. I think it can wreck your ship, but if you fly in a certain way, you can actually fly inside it. It kind of, I think the galaxy just kind of warps around you. But I've never seen one in my own game. Can't believe Sunday is almost over for me. Won't be for you. What are you? You're... I can't even remember. So 9, 6, 7, 8. So probably been 9 hours here. So is it like 3 in the afternoon over there or something? I won't. I sold the exploration data, so it's alright. I mean, I've got a couple of credits between the jumps from the station to here, but I sold all my exploration data at the station. I got what did I get? 3. I think it was 3.2. That's why I was thinking 3.2. I could rebuy the ship like 4 times over for that. This is really weird because you can't actually see the black hole. You might actually have to drop in on it. I can see some weird spinning going on. I don't know whether the video will do it justice, because it's actually really difficult to see on my screen, but I kind of saw what looked like a star spinning around, and I think it was actually just the black hole kind of warping. Yeah, I can still see it now. Like if you look above the black hole, it's like a white star kind of spinning around it. I don't think the stars are actually being pulled into it. I think it's just the effect of it. But I can see 2 other stars now kind of looking strange. There you go. Okay, so we're getting really close to it now. Oh, so you can see kind of all stuff warping around it now. So I'm just going to pull back a little bit. Yeah, Thor's eye, yep. You can see like everything's kind of warping around it now as you get closer to it. It's a pretty good effect actually. Whoa, slow down Nelly. Okay, dropped me too close. Okay, so it's dropped me out now. I'm not overheating though, so that's a good thing. Okay, so it doesn't let you fly closer anymore. There's some type of body exclusion hit, so I think rather than actually blowing you up, it's just stopping you from going in. It's really strange that I can kind of see my own yeah, I know. So it's kind of just, it seems like it's kind of bouncing me away from it when I so that's a black hole. I'm guessing there's not really a lot more they could do with the black hole, to be honest. Other than that. I like how it warps around it, it's pretty interesting. And it's kind of got all those stars as though they're getting sucked into it. They're obviously not, but... oh well. It's a shame I couldn't crash into it, isn't it? Or go inside it at least. I wonder if you can kind of fly around it. Right, well, oh, so you can see, actually, you can see how bright that sun is even from a distance. That's pretty cool. Oh, hello, Giovanni, yeah, you just came in at the right point actually. I think if you go back maybe half an hour in the video, if you want to see the nebula, I am gonna head back there now because I'm gonna park my ship up. So you can stay in this, you can stay watching the stream if you want and catch that part. But yeah, I was just looking at Thor's eye there. Where is it? There we go. So going back, I'm actually gonna take any star. Apart from the sequential one, so we'll apply that to the route. Maybe I can get back a little bit faster. Oh no. No faster.
Frameshift drive charging.
So that was pretty good. I like that. I am heading back to the nebula, so you will be able to see it if you want.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Yeah, some of those stars, I about 3 minutes, no, maybe 4 minutes past in the video, I passed a B-class star, which was pretty, it was really, really big.
Fuel scooping.
So I'm really scared with a couple of these, because, oh, I've just realised that could have been
Fuel scooping complete.
I didn't turn my orbit lines back on. I'm sat there going, why aren't the orbit lines showing up? Am I going to crash? Okay.
Frameshift
So
drive
you can kind of see the nebula in front there, but it does get bigger as you get closer. Wow, so I'll try and see if there's anything in this area
engage.
for maybe tomorrow or the next night. I'll see if there's anything in this area on the way back to the bubble that's worth visiting, and then I'll do a little bit more. It'd be a shame to just fly all the way back and not have a stop off somewhere in between, so
Fuel scooping.
I'll have to do, over my morning coffee tomorrow, I'll have to do a little bit of searching, see what I can find that's in between.
Fuel scooping complete.
Wait, charging a bit early there.
Charging.
So it's a real shame you couldn't actually just fly inside, even if it did what it did before, when like I said before, when people managed to fly into it, it was just kind of, it just distorted everything around you. It wasn't anything special, but they've obviously put a block, they've put that block on it now, so you kind of just bounce off it and come back. It's not even like a planetary one. Actually, yeah, if you haven't got horizons, that's what it does, I think, when you get to a planet.
3, 2, 1, engage.
So I can't do it when I'm live, but I normally I'll normally put in the description my drop-in points into certain places, so that you can just click, you can just jump to that part of the video rather than watch the whole stream. I am thinking that I might actually start to do like a cut, but it means sitting down with editing software, and that's going to take up time. I'd rather be playing.
Frameshift drive charging.
I'm going to try and speed up these jumps a little bit. I don't need to worry about fuel or anything.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Oh, by the way, Cybersec, did you manage to download the beta? Did you actually manage to do it? I know you were saying it was quite big and it was going to take a long time, but... Alright, thank you. Yeah, I'll have a... Oops. I'll take a note of that. If I can find my... I'm not going to blow up here, am I? No. Okay. Where's my chat log? Okay, HR6164, okay. I'll put that in my little book. I mean, the way I feel at the moment, I feel like going all the way to Colonia, but, or at least the centre of the bubble. I'll have to have a good think about it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Yeah, I mean, mining's really not going to pay off. Mining's only really... That's why I asked, because mining's basically for the... It's for the engineers, really. Otherwise, there's not much point in it. They did say they're going to buff it. That nebula's okay. But if you had fun doing it, I suppose it was worth it, maybe.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
You know, actually, we're thinking about games earlier where they've got things a little bit... Maybe a little bit better is... which one was I thinking of there? The Truck Simulator games, Euro Truck Simulator and American Truck Simulator, they're pretty good games. Kind of doing trading and stuff. And one of the most recent train games, you can actually get out of the train and walk around and go into the cab and go into the seated areas, which is pretty cool. So yeah, if they could, there you go, that nebula's looking good again. If they could put something like that in this, it would have been a bonus. But I have the feeling that the engine just wouldn't even deal with anything like that.
3, 2, 1, engage.
I think everything's designed on top of it's kind of just sat on top of the first person view in this game. I don't think it's possible to make anything in true 3D form, as in the interiors and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to take it down to the planet so that you can actually so that you can actually see the nebula, because, well, presumably it's still on the right side of the planet. But when I was docked earlier, you got a really good view of it, especially with some mountains in the distance. It looked really good.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it wasn't a huge, like... It didn't blow my socks off, that's why I haven't gone back to it. And then, of course, they disabled the trade wings, which was kind of the main reason for it. There was the trade wings and the engineers. And what's happened, by the looks of it on Discord, is everybody ran to the... everybody ran to the engineers, worked out how it was going to work, and then just went back into the normal game and started grinding rather than reporting problems and stuff like that. So... that's kind of bit them on the backside a little bit. And it seems that everybody's just pissing them on about it, so... Oh. I thought that was a system, not my planet. See ya. So what are you on over there, Cybersec? Are you like 3 in the afternoon or something? 3:05? Or are you actually... No, it might be 4:05 actually. Please don't. I need to land on that planet. I don't know how I managed to overshoot this planet considering my my throttle's been on 0 for the last 30 seconds. Right, okay, I think I can land now. Maybe so. I never really thought about it with multi-crew. But when I say true 3D game, I just mean the general environment. I know that, for example, you can skimp... Where the heck is this landing spot? Oh, is that it? Am I on the wrong side of the planet? I'm going to drop out of orbital flight if I do it like that. We'll do a ring around. Oh no, we'll just do a ring around it then. Come in. Because I know there's kind of a difference between a one perspective 3D and then doing it so that it can be inhabited. Don't want to. No. I'm not going to crash here, am I? Oh, grad complete. Hold on. Ah, well. 11 kilometers, that's not bad. Alright, so if I just go out of that. Okay, so you can get a pretty good look at the nebula there. And it'd help if I took my so you can see how vast that nebula is there. Pretty outstanding. RPM, okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. I was thinking 3 in England. It'll be 4 here. Yep. Sometimes forget we're an extra hour ahead. An hour behind. Sorry. Let's have a look. So. Contacts. Quest docking.
Permission authorized. Proceed to Bay 02. You are approved for automated docking.
Oh, so you've still got your whole evening ahead of you.
Scan detected.
Docking complete. Perform landing checklist. It's good to have you with us, Commander.
Just wondering if they had any special stuff here. I don't actually think they do. Oh, well, that's not bad. I got £1 million just for nipping out there, and I've got another 300,000 waiting for me. So, don't know how I made £1 million just from those couple of jumps, but I did. I don't think you get that much for scanning a black hole. see if I can do that. Can I pay off my legacy stuff? No. Okay, so I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for watching. It's been quite a long stream, and I only intended to literally come here, have a quick look at the nebula, and then leave. So it's been nearly 4 hours. Oof. Okay, well, it's good to get it up there. Okay, so I'll schedule my next streams probably, so you'll actually get them come up in your you got a good chunk of time. You can go out and do that rank up. Get some of those permits. Okay, so I'm gonna call night because my housemates come back now. It's 12 o'clock and I've got work in the morning, so I'll try and schedule my next streams so that you can actually see them. They'll pop up and it'll tell you when they're coming up. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.